we seem to have an issue with teams closing out series in the second round here, and I decided I was going to wear a practice jersey, which is rare, but this is a nice practice jersey. It's got the whole Winter Classic thing going on and everything, and I don't think I've ever worn it in a video, so here we are. And the Bruins tonight, I changed out the magnet because, I might as well be superstitious about it. But the reality is Boston came out and played their game tonight. This is the first game in the series where I felt like, yep, Boston's playing their style of hockey. It's not always pretty. It does rely heavily on the goaltender and on defensive systems, but when it works, they win. So, Swayman versus Bobrovsky. The score at the start of the game, again on the Chiron on Sportsnet, was 1-0 Boston, which I thought was nice. I was like, well, that's nice that Florida, as the host, they're granting Boston a goal early in the game. But then, of course, if you are a believer in conspiracies, well, they do score first. So Panthers press at 2 minutes. They're kept to the outside. Beecher fires one high as the Bruins' fourth line gets some pressure, and I thought their fourth line was pretty good. Beecher had a rough night with the puck, but at least he acknowledges it and seems to take that to heart. So the fact that he gets upset when he screws up, I admire that. Carlo has a screenshot that's saved. Panthers rush. The shots are 3-1 Boston at 4.5 minutes, and at 4:49 on a great pass, Geekie buries one. DeBrusk and McAvoy with the assists. So. It's buried, and as I put there, as the prophecy foretold, it was 1-0 Boston on the Chiron at the start. Suddenly it's 1-0 Boston. Panthers look to respond. They're kept to the outside. Panthers draw a power play. There's an early clear there. Then they go offside, trying to set up the power play again. Panthers cycle. Bruins are blocking. Back-to-back clears. They kill that off. One shot on net for Florida on their power play. Pasternak has a rush chance to misfires. The Bruins press at the half. There's a shoulder save on McAvoy. The fans call one, the referee does not. Teams exchange rushes. The shots are 9-3 for Boston with 7 minutes left. McAvoy has a shot that's blockered aside. It's cleared out. Tkachuk has a net feed that's picked off. Things are pushy on a hole by Bobrovsky, although there wasn't a lot of that tonight. It's interesting, too, because I think Boston's played better since Marchand got hurt. And I'm sure that's just a coincidence, but it's interesting to see who jumps up and who really stands out in their game. With the captain on the shelf. So, at the very least for Boston, they're seeing how the future might be once, Marchand's gone and all of that, which at this point in time is going to be at least a few years, but it's still, they're playing well while he's out. So, after that, the fans call one, the referee doesn't, and then with 3:46 left, the Panthers get a power play. So they wanted a power play for one play, and then they get the power play for a play that happens maybe 10 seconds later. It's the first time I've seen in these playoffs where the referee doesn't exactly do the makeup call, but he does call a penalty pretty quickly thereafter. I talked about that during the regular season. I did see that in some games. It felt like it was a pattern for a while there that the fans would make a ruckus, and pretty quickly after that, their team would get a power play. So instead of it being a power play, it's 4-on-4 instead. So I think they were going to have a power play for Boston, and then, Florida gets in the midst of whatever schmoz, they get sucked into it. It's 4-on-4 instead, so the fans disagree. Heinen then has a shot that deflects wide. Pretty quiet second half for both teams after a noisy first half. Rodriguez fires one wide on a rush. Geekie has a last-minute rush chance that's kicked aside, but it's 1-0 Boston after the first. Second period. Good early back and forth. The Panthers press at a minute and a half. Kulikov has a shot that's blocked. Lowry then has a screenshot that's saved. Bruins, though, they draw themselves a power play. DeBrusk has a shot that's blocked out. Back-to-back clears by Florida. Boston can't set up until the second minute of that power play. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Stenlund. Swayman bails out his power play there. Power play's killed off, and then the Panthers rush after. Panthers get some pressure at 5.5 minutes. Heinen has a rush chance that's held. And then on a rebound in close, Reinhart roofs one at 6:23 to tie the game. Ekblad and Tarasenko with the assists, so that makes it 1-1. Panthers then look for the lead. Fredericks denied on a rush. There's some pushing. We get some chance for Bobby, which of course is Bobrovsky. The shots are 6-5 Florida at 8 minutes. Florida definitely got their game back in that second period. Tkachuk then has a sharp angle shot that's held. And then at 10:25, McAvoy, he goes posting in on a zone entry from the high slot. Coyle and Frederick with the assists. It's 2-1 Boston, and it took the noise level from the crowd and really kicked it down a little bit. So there's a goalie interference challenge on this, and it fails. So Boston goes to the power play. So now Boston's got a power play off of a failed goalie interference challenge, much like Florida had a power play off a failed challenge in the last game. And in this case, it was, I felt that the goaltender had a chance to reset. Totally understood why it wasn't goalie interference. But if you're a Florida fan, you're probably thinking it was goalie interference. But either way now, both fan bases can be mad. So two wrongs make a right. Homer Simpson. But yeah, so the Bruins get the power play. The Bruins cycle. There's a shorthanded rush chance by Lusterine, that save. The Bruins set up, but then it's cleared again. Reinhart has a shorthanded rush. That saved. And so, yeah, Florida had some chances during that penalty kill. They clear to finish it, and then they get a power play. So this was the power play period of the game. Boston's power play wasn't good, but then the Bruins on the penalty kill, they clear it, and they clear it again. Panthers cycle. Montour fires one wide. Verhaeghe has a shot that's held. Bennett fires one wide. Puck's cleared. It's cleared again. There's a shorthanded break by DeBrusk. That's saved. Fredericks then denied after the penalty kills come to an end. So the penalty kill was ending while DeBrusk was on the break, and then right after that, Frederick can't bury the rebound. Beecher passes one, Doc Pozo. Don't do that, Beecher. I understand you're still new to the NHL, but just because he taps the stick on the ice, don't. I think he was just kind of lost about where he was throwing the puck to, and he just put it in the exact wrong spot. The good news for him being, Opozo wasn't aware the puck was coming. I did say Okpozo. I'm sorry. I caught myself. It's Opozo. You don't pronounce the K anymore. But yeah, so then there's a post for Barkov from the slot. That wasn't a prime defensive play by Boston, but hey, post and out. So it's 2-1 for Boston after two. Third period. There's an arm save on DeBrusk. There's an early press by Boston. Reinhart has a shot that's held. There's some pushing. We get a power play for Florida. There's a shorthanded fast break for Zacha. That's kicked aside. Verhaeghe has a shot that's saved, and then is cleared. There's another clear. Fans are getting a little restless at this point, and then a clear by Charlie Coyle ends the power play for Florida. It was 0-for-4 tonight. Panthers press after it comes to an end, but the shots are 3 apiece at 4 minutes, so Boston holding their own at that point. Maroon then tips one high as the Bruins press. Then there's an offensive zone penalty by Ekblad, which he vehemently disagrees with his whole way to the box. Bruins struggle to set up. Great penalty kill by the Panthers. Geekie can't bury when the puck's cleared out. The power play's killed off. No momentum for Boston coming off of that power play. I think that was the end of the power plays. Almost. Panthers press with 9.5 minutes left. There's not very many chances either way. It already felt like overtime in this game. Even though it's 2-1, I'm just saying, like, it feels like the next goal is the big one, and we don't get there. But anyways, then we have too many Bruins on the ice. That was the 6th time in these playoffs. 6th that they've had a too many men on the ice call. I don't know if this is on one of the assistant coaches or if this is on Jim Montgomery. I don't know if this is they're changing up the lines too much, but this is too many times they've had too many men on the ice call. So the Panthers get a power play. There's 8:32 left in the game at this point. They cycle. Montour has a shot that's saved. The Bruins clear. Reinhart then fires one wide. It's cleared. The Bruins clear again. Reinhart then fires one wide from the slot. He looked skyward after that one. It's killed off, and then Lundell has a net feed. That's held by Swayman. Swayman with really good rebound control tonight. So the fans call when the referee doesn't, and at that point I'm kind of mumbling, yeah, you guys have had 4 power plays. It's going to take a lot to get that 5th. So then the Panthers press with 5.5 minutes left. Brazeau has a rush chance that deflects out. Bobrovsky passes to DeBrusk. That's also a bad pass. You don't want to be passing to the other team. DeBrusk tried to bank one in off of him right away, but it doesn't work. There's a brief press by Boston after that. Then there's a near miss for Pasternak on a turnover. Geekie then has a chance that's held after that. The Bruins with an icing with 3:05 left, meaning it's time to pull the goaltender. So there's this, DeBrusk is minus a stick. Montour has a shot that's held, and the Panthers call a timeout with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. Probably not all that happy that with DeBrusk without a stick, meaning it's kind of a 6-on-4.5. They're not able to bury it. So then there's a stick save on Barkov. A failed clear by Boston leads to some crazy moments here. There's another failed clear as well. And then with 48.4 seconds left, the Bruins are forced to ice it. So they're really holding on, like just by the skin of their teeth here. And they can't call a timeout. I want to specify here that if you've iced the puck, your team can't call a timeout. Because it was mentioned, and I've heard other broadcasters mention it. Gary Galley caught himself here and realized, yeah, it's icing. You can't call the timeout. But I have heard other announcers and other broadcasts say they could call a timeout here. I'm surprised they didn't call one. If you ice the puck, you cannot call a timeout. That's right in the rules. Reinhart's then denied in the closing seconds with like 10 seconds left. And like Swayman, I'm so glad I got a Swayman jersey. The Bruins hold on. Swayman holds on, right? Swayman kind of steals one. The Bruins kind of steal one. The series is now 3-2. It's going back to Boston. So, again, we're not seeing teams able to close out these series. It should be interesting. Shots on net tonight: 13-4 Boston in the first, 15-9 for Florida in the second, 10-6 Florida in the third. Florida outshoots Boston 29-28, but Boston did get more shots on net. That was key. Hits 49-35 for Boston. Swayman saves 28 out of 29. Bobrovsky was very good as well, saving 26 out of 28. So it's quite the goaltending battle. And for Boston, they keep their playoff hopes alive for at least one more game. I was proud of the performance Boston put out there tonight. Again, it wasn't the prettiest of hockey, but it won. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.